So I've just bought a cheap RX8, sight unseen. Actually, let's do this intro again. Welcome to LeEdFollow, the dumbest automotive channel in all of YouTube. But was it really that dumb? So why don't I think it's that much of a dumb move to buy a cheap 1250 quid RX8? Well, firstly, it's not my first RX8. I've had one before. I had a 2007 one, which I did everything to, full Bridgeport, caged it, bucket seats, well actually an R3 interior in the end, and just everything was done to it. I ran out of things to do to it, and that's pretty much why I sold it. I loved that car, it was a monster, so I know these pretty well. Also, I'm still friends with a lot of people from the RX8 world, and that includes Ryan Rotary Performance, who are one of the best rotary specialists in the UK and make some really nice parts, some of which I think I need to put onto this. And finally, you know what? RX8s aren't actually that scary. They're very simple cars, they're very simple to work on. Mazda built them to be worked on. You don't need specialist tools, a 10mm spanner, and you're pretty much away. So do not be scared of these cars, but make sure you've got a little bit of money in the bank account for fuel, oil, and the inevitable rebuilds. So another reason why it's not the dumbest move in the world to buy this car is because it has been enthusiast owned. As you can tell, they wanted people to know it's an RX8. They were proud of owning an RX8, so that's great. They've done everything they needed to do to look after it. They've put decent oil in it, not semi-synthetic, not fully synthetic, only semi, don't forget that. There's the oils in the boot they were using, good oil. It has got decent coloured coolant, it's nice and green. FL22 is the coolant you want for these, although I used to run Prestone in mine. It's even got a little sort of the bag in the back that came with the RX8 with a litre of oil and the funnel and everything, so you can do the top-ups. And everything that's needed to be done has been done on this car. It's been well cared for and well maintained. It's not perfect, and we'll get into that at a later stage, but it has been well maintained, and hopefully it's a good base to jump off from. Now, for those of you who don't know much about the RX8s, this is a 231 model, the 6-port 231 horsepower, although you'll be lucky to see that on a dyno. Mazda tend to overestimate a bit, although it does feel like it's got 231 horsepower, probably due to the 9k rev limit. Being the 231 model, you get the xenon lights, the 6-speed gearbox, the 9,000 RPM rev limit, as mentioned earlier, and a few other tiny little things like nicer pedals and stuff like that. And personally, the 231 is the one to get. People say the 192's got more torque, and yes it does, but it doesn't have a 9,000 RPM rev limit, and that is what you want when you have a rotary, all the revs all the time. What's good about these cars is Mazda cared about it. They built it as a sports car. The only other car it shares parts with is the MX-5 NC, which is a bit of a hated one. I like them, I think they're quite nice, partly because I can fit in them. So it shares some parts of that. You can actually fit RX8 ARBs onto the NC as an upgrade. So these have double wishbone suspension at the front, multi-link at the back, tons of arms back there. If you want to upgrade all of them, you're spending a lot of money. And it just handles brilliantly. And that's partly due as well to the chassis, to the engine. The engine being a rotary, it is like that big. It's tiny. And it sits low down, far back, technically mid-engine car this, and that low centre of gravity just makes a car snappy on the steering, just handles beautifully. So they are brilliant cars. Every reviewer that says they're great is completely and utterly correct. Have their issues, as we said, but they are fantastic. So the RX8 is also nice and practical, as you can see. It's a 4-door car with 4 seats that can pretty much seat 4 adults, or 3 really if it's a longer journey. And it is great for long journeys. I've taken my old one to Germany many times and it has been brilliant. One reason I wanted to buy this car is I'm getting a bit fed up with the 370Z only having 2 seats. I like to be able to chuck stuff onto the back seat, and I like to be able to take a passenger if I need to. So that is one reason I bought this, apart from the fact it's cheap, and I can't say no to a cheap car. So this car isn't standard. It's had a few mods, a few tweaks, and a few decent sort of upgrades. so far mods I have found and are new about, it has a high flow catalytic converter, Japseed one, so just general eBay one, has an eBay exhaust on it. It doesn't sound too bad, a little bit loud for my liking, so I might have to address that in the future. What is good as well, it has got the braided oil cooler lines. This is a known fault on the RX8, that suddenly you find a pool of oil under normally this side of the car, and it's where the oil cooler line has started to fail. It's not the cheapest thing in the world, and it's not the most fun job to do in the world. You've got to take quite a lot of stuff out. So that has been done. It's had a faster starter motor fitted on it, which is good and also bad. I feel like it's masking issues having that, but we'll get to that. It's had D585 coils fitted. Yes, Tom. It's got D585 coils fitted. Now, in the day, like 8 years ago, those were what you wanted, but nowadays they've had it. If you got them, get rid of them and get some RRP Mark IV coils. They're normally the daddy. So that, or the Mazda OEM Type C coils, they're also good, but the RRP, you do get the lifetime warranty, so that is very handy. It has a panel filter in it, I've just discovered. It has compound all over the engine bay where the headlights are polished, which is something I've got to deal with because it annoys me. It's had the world's worst oil cap fitted. It's had a catch can fitted, not the best, and I quite like catch cans on these, but I might tweak that. And it's had an oil pressure gauge fitted in the cab, and that's been done really nicely. So I'll show you footage of that. Overall, it's a nice car, but it has got an issue, as they all do. We're not too sure what the issue is and haven't been able to dig into it because DHL have lost a battery I've ordered because this battery is mega flat, and I hate doing diagnostics on a car with a flat battery. So what the car will do, idle fine, start fine, then after 5 to 10 minutes it will just cut out. Then it will start straight back up. So I don't know what is going on, what needs doing. It might be something simple, could be those 585s we were talking about, I don't know. But this is the next video. We're going to be going into it and start the diagnosis process and see what we can find. Hopefully it's good, and also I need to look under this thing. I haven't been seen underneath it yet, partly because I can't get the wheels off either, because Luke's still got the key for the locking wheel nuts, but that's all stuff to look at in the future. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you're excited as I am to discover what's wrong with this car. If it's much, hopefully it's not an engine, but what's wrong with this car, our plans for the car, what we're going to do with the car, which I don't really know yet, and just make it a nice toy again. So anyway, thank you for watching. Please hit subscribe so you can keep up to date with this project and all our others, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.